All right, hey, what's up, YouTube? It's the end of the market day. We got a few minutes here before the close, but the main moves are done. As you can see, it was a big red day. A lot of things happened here. We're going to go over all the things that happened. Some of the plays that we called out in yesterday's video hit, and others got used but just didn't spike off of it. And so we're going to go over some of those things that we saw today. We're going to get right into it. So pre-market, we had some fear indicators. So a lot of news dropped actually. And none of the stocks that got news were really running. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I didn't see too many that were popping too much as we've seen in the previous weeks where they would really have volume. That's really what I saw is low volume and really just pop and drops. Maybe they have one or two green candles and just come right back down. And unfortunately, it happened to a few of our callouts. Now, we didn't call out those exact news that was going to come out, but some of the stocks that we were watching had news and just didn't move off of it. I think one was KTTA. Let me see if I go to it. KTTA had news, and this is literally the spike it had. Whereas previous days, it'd have stuff like this. So I don't know if this was an indicator that people were still scared from yesterday and Jerome Powell speaking, but that should have been an indicator for sure. We talked about Merck yesterday in the comments. Actually, while I was recording the video, it had news released. And so it started popping, but I thought it was important. That one did go up pre-market, and then it just came right back down. Still had a little bit of volume during the beginning of the market, and then it crashed after, which, as you'll see, everything did. Olma, this one went way down. It actually found a balance around 8. It kind of came back up. This is the one that had the fake news off of it, and the company reported that the story that came the story that came out was false, and they gave their actual report that was being anticipated for like early December, but they did it a little early, I believe. I believe that is it. AR, yeah, we were talking about this one, that this had a big dip. I'm still interested in this one because of the range that it has. It dropped from 120 all the way to 14 and IPO'd at 40, so just big range. It's at a low. It could only go 14 down before it's at 0. And it has a lot of range to come back up if people get behind it. This is a cleaning technology company. I looked a little bit more into it. They specialize in airborne viruses and slowing those down. So it's not directly a COVID play, but maybe if just things in general COVID related get volume, this could also get volume. And we got some news on COVID today, so maybe tomorrow or within the next week, if more volume comes in and people have more confidence in the market, it might happen, but still keeping an eye on it. So yeah, let me go back over here. At market open, we had a lot of the value stocks up. We had Roblox, Affirm, Apple. Those were all going up. Home Depot, a lot of the ones you could think of where everything was really green. It almost looked like it was rebounding from yesterday's bad news from Jerome Powell. And then Powell started to speak, and then some of the volume was still good. It actually looked like maybe he was kind of not taking back what he said, but kind of just like realizing that it wasn't as bad as everybody, it was kind of overplayed. But then a few questions got asked to him, and he kind of just doubled down on what he said yesterday, kind of staying very firm on what he was saying. And then you could tell that confidence just started to drop. The SPY started to drop and go crazy. So from this speech alone, it had like 2 red waves based off of questions. The volume was going up, like I said, before the meeting. And it kind of just got stomped out as soon as it started, and then didn't really have any volume or good response to anything of the good things he was saying. But as soon as he said something bad or reassuring of yesterday's news, it would just tank again. So we had 2 tanks off that, and then midday we had a 3rd tank on the SPY, where we had news of COVID in California. So it's just a confirmed COVID case in California. They later came on and said that the person wasn't hospitalized, that the person was also vaccinated and stuff like that. But this one, let's look at the SPY. This one just kind of, it looked like for a while it was kind of fighting. So, I mean, we gapped up in the morning here, pre-market. And then we continued on that as market opened. And then we had a few waves, and it looked like for a while because of this, like this in general here, that the SPY was fighting for a bit, trying to kind of stay up. It bounced off here, bounced off the VWAP here, and then once it tanked under, it just kept going, trying to hit new levels and come back up. But I believe this is the last one. It was either here or here where we got that COVID news and things just started to tank. So let's look at the 4 hour. I mean, this isn't a even. I mean, this is a really big correction, but it's off of news. It's not even just like a correction on its own. But I mean, just looking from here, it could continue to come down, and that looks a little bit scary because I mean, I don't know if this was September, but yeah, this one was down for a while. I remember that everything was red for a while before coming back up, and so it could just bounce back tomorrow. But I mean, with the confidence that was there today, and how the SPY's are looking right now, even as I talk about it, it's still going down. Then we still have after hours. There's a chance that it could just keep on dropping, and it's going to take a lot for the confidence to kind of come back on that. So we have a few strategies that we're looking at. So yeah, we're going to be looking at investor confidence because that's going to be really the telltale sign of whether things can flip back around or not. And since people are still kind of worried, who knows if this could happen? Or like I said, this could be just a SPY pullback and kind of just play it as that before bouncing back. So this would mean it would run multiple days. And our two strats that we're looking at are value stock dip buys and continuations. Continuations being off of some of the fear stuff that sold off today. So like we were looking at one of the plays that hit 2 days ago that we covered on the video was AHPI. It's a mask play. So as soon as the COVID release came out, that one popped up. And then we got more COVID news today and it popped off again. So we called it out yesterday, but we were calling it out as like it just looked very calm and like a little bit quiet, a little oddly quiet. And then with the news today, it popped off again because that one pops and then it just returns back to a level and holds there. So that's why we called that one out. Value stocks, let me show you what I'm talking about here. So let me just go to my main watch list where I just have like a lot of the big names. Okay, so Roblox, of course, everything went up, gapped up, and then came back down. So Roblox went from 130 down to 110. Airbnb, 180 down to 160. Firm, 130 to 116. AMC, this was one I was considering actually because AMC was pretty consistent from 132, anywhere from 132 to 134, bouncing back up to like $38. And so I was considering it, but man, with this, everything really fell today. And PayPal, just big range on the downside, which is just crazy. So the first strategy would be dip buying, but there's no guarantee that it's going to come back up tomorrow or anytime soon, really. This could continue. Things are oversold, yes, but that doesn't mean that they're automatically going to come back. They could continue to sell off because you're going to take a lot of confidence to buy this back up. And then the other strategy we're looking at is continuation volume and just mask plays, vaccination plays, stuff that does well during market crashes. Prime example being SQQQ. So whenever the market does bad, this does good. As you can see, the past days, it's been doing really, really good. So that's something to consider. I mean, you could play this on the downside too if the market flips. But this is the one I was talking about yesterday. It went up $4 during pre-market and just came back down. Today it had a smaller pop, but still people were putting volume behind it. And I think if maybe it was more of a bullish market as opposed to like how there wasn't too much volume today, maybe this would have popped off a bit more. We would have seen like another $4 move. But there was just not a lot of confidence today. So things that did pop, like they didn't go very high. And things that dropped, like you got heavily punished for. Apple, we called this one yesterday just because it was already doing good. And while the market was doing bad. So if we figured if there was a continuation, Jerome Powell was going to speak again, that this would continue to do what it was doing yesterday. And it did, but it just couldn't hold up. It tried to hold, and this was one of the only ones that was green, big green again. But I mean, as you can tell, it came all the way back down, finishes lower than where it started. So we're using this one as an indicator to see how everything's going to hold. But once this one drops, this is your safe haven, and your safe haven dies, then everything's looking really bad. That's going to decrease confidence even more because the strongest stock is down. This one we're looking at just because the big dip again, the range. Buying at a place like this, if it does decide to come back up even a little bit up here, that's just a big range. I mean, it came down a lot. It bounced off of 14, but this was on the day where it had a lot of volume. It was selling off big. People probably bought back in at a lower range. ARDX, this one has been running the past few days. I think yesterday I had news here. I think we talked about this one. It gapped up and then conceded here and then sold off with everything else. VNTR, same thing, just a big pop and then before coming back down. This one was on the high ticker early in the morning. So these are just a few of the ones that we could look at, the head volume. And so if we have any kind of pop, spike, or continuation, CNTX was on the high ticker as well. This one was probably gapping up the most out of everything. But still, this candle came right back down. And it's all down as well. And so ABUS had news today. Something was going on with Moderna and them. They were in some kind of lawsuit, something like that. And basically, this company was going to pretty much benefit off of Moderna losing that battle, and they were going to get some kind of royalty or just get paid off. So inherently, they're worth more. And so I don't know if this could continue tomorrow, but it looks like it's bouncing here. But that was a pretty big move too, considering today. That's a big move. BCTX was also a big move. This one had news, and I saw it on the high ticker, and I think this was going up while other things were going down. So it had a lot of attention, but people just took profits and probably got out for the day around here. APT, I believe this is also a mask play with AHPI. It had a lot of movement late, and it's closing green, which is crazy while everything's going red. This is a huge move, so I mean, we'll see how it goes after market, but if it comes back down, it could be a good entry, but I highly doubt it's just going to, I mean, you never know. It could just continue up, but these are the ones we're watching. So these are another one of the COVID-related plays. Didn't close up too green today, but it's still better than nothing, and it's Clorox. So with the COVID news, Clorox did well last time when the pandemic first started. It was just another play to do while the pandemic is going on because you need sanitation, which is another reason why I like the AERC play, because it's kind of in the same category. Olma, this one kind of bounced off of $8, but didn't really move too much. Hit highs of 1050, but it just really wasn't seeing volume. Honestly, this was kind of crazy because this looks big here, but this is like a $2 range. But it was like, there's like a certain vibe you get when you see a stock like kind of waiting and it's like pointing straight up, and you know it's gonna like pop, and then sometimes you buy in early or sometimes you just watch it happen. But this time, like, it was doing that all through here, and just there was no volume, and then it just kind of came back down. But it's kind of crazy to see that, because usually when you see that kind of that loop, I guess you would call it, that curl, most people are on the same page and people buy, but there was just no volume here today. Yeah, so I brought this one on here right now because it had news and just didn't pop, so I wanted to talk about that. Not sure how I'd play this. I probably wouldn't, but I just wanted to talk about it. But wouldn't play this anymore because it got news and didn't move. So, I mean, you got the best case scenario and it didn't do anything, so why would we even look at this one anymore, really? It had news and just didn't do anything with it. And then MRK gapped up and then came back down. I believe we talked about that one too. That's going to be it for this video. Hopefully we see a rebound tomorrow or after hours. If you have anything that you're looking at that I maybe missed, call it out in the comment section. I'll take a look at it. I think that's going to be it for now. If we see any news after hours, I'll probably drop it in the comments. If you made it to the end of this video, I'd appreciate it if you like the video or follow the video if you want daily market updates. I typically drop them about 15 minutes after market close. That way, any extra news that comes out, we can add that on too. But I figured I'd do this one a little early, kind of show everything that was going on, and then any rebounds will be at the absolute low. Like here, for example. I mean, there's no guarantee it's going to go all the way back up, but we see a green candle. More people may be more confident after hours into pre-market. So give you the most opportunity to take a look at all of this overall. So that's going to be it for me. Until next time, guys. Later.